Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalrin, and I talk about World of Warcraft extensively. I talk about PvE aspects, PvP aspects, rogue aspects, and non-rogue aspects. In this video, I really just want to take the time to talk about honor talents and the biggest issues with them. The honor talent system is not a bad system inherently, but I do want to highlight some of the systems that a lot of people just don't understand why it's not there, why some features are not visible, why it's functioning the way it is, and point out the negatives in hopes that Blizzard maybe takes the time to modify them. They are changing up the honor system in many ways, but I'm hoping for a better system for PvP. More comprehensive system, something that just makes more sense, something that is clear, something that offers a little bit more flexibility, customization, the things we also usually love about WoW PvP, and what we used to love in previous expansions. Anyway, without further ado, let's get to the video. The first thing I don't like about honor talents and honor system, and I'm going to be quite frank, it's not really rewarding. It's kind of an unrewarding experience. It's supposed to be a experience where you start with level 1, no honor talents, and then you grind up your honor talents. You unlock the first row, then the second row, and the third row, and then you do a big gamble by tossing all this away to reset yourself back to the end with a first talent, and then you having to grind back up, a lot like how they want to do in Call of Duty. What happened though is arena players didn't want to reset their talents because they're pushing arena season, and the first row of talents simply doesn't do it for you for some of these other classes in order to be competitive. So Blizzard scrapped it, so you took away the risk reward system out of it. The risk is out, but is there a reward? What do you get for a reward? The first time you grind it, you get a pony, but then you get like 50 recolors of the same exact pony, and I'm pretty sure people get tired by the 30th. Then we got honor talent weapons, artifact weapon, honor talent weapons in recolors. And while some of them are great, and some have a great last skin at the very end, not all of them look that great. Some of the honor talents by the end of it literally look like vomit, and nobody really wants it. So you grind it out all the way to the end, even though the third or the second skin was better for you. And all that is subjective. Other than that, you get pets, you get toys, you get titles. I'm not really a pet collector or a toy collector. I think there needs to be a better incentive, and to go through a circuit, they need to give you a reason why you want to go through a PvP circuit. For me personally, it's gear. I still love my Warlords General Season 1 Elite set, the set that you cannot get today. It has animated shoulders, and overall the color of the set, the red and purple mix, looks amazing, and it looks even better now that I made myself into a Nightborn rather than a Belf, even though it looks great in a Belf. It looks awesome. It's a good set of gear, and I really wanted it so bad back in the day. The current Elite sets are pretty cool, but again, they're subjective. But how many of them have a lot of moving parts, a lot of crazy aspects to it? I feel like we just need to have a forum. We need to have a forum asking people what will get you off your ass into BGs, into arenas, and grinding it. What would make you want to do it? And then put this stuff in a game. Maybe it could be some awesome looking mounts, not just a recolor of the same pony a 20th time in a row. Maybe it could be gear, maybe it could be specific gear, like weapons that are upgradable. You do your first circuit, you get a danky little dagger. Do a second circuit, that dagger is more clean. Third circuit, that dagger looks more menacing, and then more and more, and by the end of the expansion, you have this awesome looking weapon that is unique, and it's never going to be in the game ever. And you're somebody who really grinded for that thing. Cosmetic rewards go a long way, and I feel like recolors don't do as much, so maybe it could be one of those cosmetic rewards that's upgradable. That cosmetic looks better and better and better rather than a recolor of the same thing. The second part about honor talents that I think we could agree on is the complete lack of customization. The honor talents themselves is not what I'm really referring to. I'm talking about the honor talent system in general, and the system I'm talking about are the stat templates. Yes, Blizzard added stat templates in order to balance classes as much as possible, but I feel like we took an aspect that was fun, the depth, out of PvP. Back in Kata, back in Mob, back even Warlords are the 3 expansions that I did play in, there was a lot of theory crafting in terms of how you want to gear yourself. Of course, you wanted a lot of PvP resilience on all your gear, but then your stats, your weapon choice, your trinkets, the reforging for your stats, a lot of it mattered. The enchants that you want to run, the kind of builds you want to run, what kind of gems you want to put in. Do you want to be a rogue with full damage, or do you want to be some kind of a dual rogue with stamina gear? There was a lot of customization, a lot of opportunity for people to make awesome builds, but also ability for people to make mistakes, and that's something that Blizzard took out. They took out the ability for people to make mistakes. Now the only mistake you can have is, I took a wrong honor talent, I took a wrong trinket, and that's really about it. Or maybe even I forgot my gear, or all my gear is broken. But there used to be so many more mistakes that people could make, but also so many more opportunities for people to get creative with how they want to PvP, with how they want to gear themselves. And that aspect, that depth, is gone, and in a way the fun is also gone, and in a way the soul of PvP has also been kind of drained. What if Blizzard allowed us to change our stat templates on the fly, and to have us choose our stats? And I mean choose them in depth. I mean, when we're choosing our stats, allow us to change how much haste we want. Let's say you take some out of haste, and then whatever points you took out of haste, you can put into mastery. So there is a certain amount of points every class, every specialization has, and you can attribute those points into different stats, so you can have some ability to play around. I feel like that alone would allow people to experiment with different builds, different play styles of same classes, and have different builds. Certain talents combination with these specific stats makes for this kind of build, like a very heavy dot build. Or if you want to change it up, maybe more crit, more upfront damage, more versatility, so you can have more oomph, and dots are kind of just something that hovers on the side. I feel like it would allow people a lot more customization. And yeah, there'd be some broken aspects to it, but I think overall, giving the people the opportunity to mess around with will foster more creativity towards PvP, and will foster more curiosity, and overall I feel like more attention, more fun back into it. Oh, and I also was going to talk about honor talents and how some rows feel restrictive because of the talent choices they have. Blizzard is trying to change that up in BFA, where instead of picking 3 different rows of talents, they just give you a bucket of various talents and you could pick 3 or 4 out of them. We'll see how that goes in the future, but we do have some honor talents that are useless or useful in very hyper-specific situations. I hope they make some general talents that are useful in various situations and allow players to decide how they want to use those talents, instead of giving you talents for specific situations and then you never run them unless you're in that specific situation. I feel like, again, it would foster even more creativity and more customization to our classes. Number 3 thing that I don't like about the current honor system is the lack of transparency with our stat templates. I guess I should have made this one second, but what are your stat templates right now? Off the top of your head, how much stats do you have? How much haste? How much mastery? What is the spread? No one knows. I have no idea. I need to log on to my character right now to see the exact stats, but I don't think anyone can tell you exactly what your stats are. What if you kind of knew? What if you could see somewhere like where your class is being changed and what stats you will get depending on what you're going for? It might give you a little more opportunity to figure out what builds you want. Instead, you have to queue into BG, see what stats you have, and then play around with it there. What if there was a way for you to play around and mess with those aspects of the game ahead of time? You know? Why don't we get to see people's stat templates? Why don't we get to see even honor talents when it comes to the Armory? I don't want to make it seem like, oh, Big Brother's watching and then we gotta hope that Big Brother has everything figured out, but it would be kind of awesome to see the clarity of where they think my class is at, how well it's doing, so I could really see the difference. Because when I'm doing PvE, I get to customize my character to the nail. I get to see exactly how much haste I have, I get to compare my stats, and in PvP, I don't know what my stats are. I'm just kind of supposed to go into BGs and then trust Blizzard that everything is gonna be as intended. I feel like adding ability for players to see exactly what they are getting in PvP would go a long way. The last thing I don't like about honor system is the actual use for PvP gear. How many of you actually use PvP gear when you're doing PvE content? The whole point of Legion was to make that gear is interchangeable. You can take your raiding gear into PvP, you can take your PvP gear into raids, but who actually uses the PvP gear? The trinkets, I'll be honest, unless they have some kind of great stat stick, suck. They're pretty terrible. The only thing they do for PvP is to give you the item level, but do you ever use them in PvE? No, you're mostly likely going to be using raid gear or dungeon gear in terms of doing better, because the stats themselves and the effects are a lot stronger than in PvP. PvP offers you no 2-piece, no 4-piece bonuses, so of course you're going to go into the newest raid like on Tourist if you want to actually compete in Mythic Plus and in dungeons, and if you actually want to get better at your character. All PvP does is throws at you item levels with random stats. I've gotten some pieces of gear that are all versatility. Like literally everything is in it is verse, everything in it is mastery, everything in it is crit. In PvE aspects, dungeons and raids, usually there's a bit of spreading gear, but in PvP, it feels like they're just flipping a coin or rolling a die to randomize the stats. And sometimes it just doesn't work for everybody. You can try to do a dungeon and you could have 960 item level PvP gear, but there could be somebody in that same dungeon, exactly the same item level, 20 item levels below you maybe even, but at least he has good PvE gear that's statted properly. Well, you have literally random pieces of PvP gear, and he is just blowing you out of the water with damage. This is why in Legion a lot of people didn't even decide to fall for the trap of doing PvP for gear, and you shouldn't gear for PvP, because once you get yourself a full set of PvP only gear, you can't really use it everywhere else unless you want to run low end game content. If you want to run high end game content, you would probably do Mythic Pluses. You would probably do Mythic Raids, but in Mythic Dungeons and Mythic Raids, you could at least use the gear in both, vice versa, in Dungeons, Raids, and PvP, no matter where it comes from. But when the gear comes from PvP, nobody's gonna take you into a Mythic Plus, no one's gonna take you into a Raid, nobody might even take you into a normal Raid, because your stats are all over the place. You don't even have your 4-piece, 2-piece bonus, and you don't have the trinkets that change the gameplay. The purpose of PvP gear is to give you the item level, and maybe the looks, but that's really about it. There's no actual use for PvP gear like there used to be. You used to grind PvP gear so you could PvP. Now you need any kind of gear to PvP, so why would you grind PvP gear? Unless you like the look of it. And even then, they could have they have a system where you can wait until the season is over and then just get the appearance afterwards. Unless you're somebody who's super impatient and needs the appearance now, you'll still get it in the end run. So I feel like it's just, it feels like there's an emptiness in this aspect that used to be so prevalent in World of Warcraft, the gear. It feels so empty and kind of sad. Well, this is everything that I have in order to voice my grievances with the current honor system in Legion. And just to give developers or anybody watching the ideas of what specifically I don't like about it. I'm trying to be as specific as possible with this video. I've noticed a trend from Cataclysm into Mists of Pandaria into Warlords into Legion. The more depth you take out of the game, the less fun the PvP aspects are. I feel like in Cataclysm into MoP, you still had a thriving community of the PvP. There were so many people that did dungeons and BGs because there was so much customization. In Warlords genre, it grew less, and in Legion, I feel like it grew a little bit less. I don't want the game, the aspect, the PvP aspect of World of Warcraft to actually feel like a mini-game. And it's kind of starting to feel like more a mini-game right now than an actual big, huge component of the game that it once was. A component that Blizzard, I feel like, never accurately given the platform for. So, with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you liked the video. Go ahead and give it a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like these. Discussions, Firefly ones, BFA stuff. But subscribing sometimes might not be the only thing that you might want. I would recommend you guys to give this video a like or even comment on it, because apparently YouTube came out themselves and said they will not give you this video instantaneously unless there's somebody who's active on the channel with likes or dislikes or comment section. If you're somebody who is active with the channel, you're more likely to push this content as soon as it comes out. But if you want the easiest way to get this content for yourselves, hitting the follow bell down below helps out tremendously. It gives you the content as soon as it comes out. You get to see the streams as soon as they come out. So if you're somebody who watches the channel and pays attention to it closely and wants to get your daily dose of everyday content, 2 videos a day and a stream, then go ahead and hit the notification bell, hit the like, comment below, tell me what you like, what are your thoughts on the video, be active with it, because that's the system we got on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. My name is Dalaran. I'll see all of you in another video.